Hi guys, I'm Penina Karibe and we are live from the Amboseli National Park. This is Kenya's second most famous park after the Maasai Mara Game Reserve. Of course, the Maasai Mara is famous for its wildebeest migration, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. Amboseli Park has its own unique features as well. It's known for 2 things specifically. Number 1, it is crowned by the highest mountain in Africa. That's Mount Kilimanjaro right behind me. It's normally on a clear evening such as this, if we didn't have cloud cover, it would be seen. But it's also known for its huge herds of elephants, which hopefully we'll talk more about in this live broadcast from the Amboseli Park. So first, let me give you an introduction of where exactly I am. So I'm in an area that is very important when we talk about the ecosystem of Amboseli National Park. Now, let's just have a look to my right, and my cameraman Jishin is just going to pan his camera and show you the dead trees that are just right to my right hand. So these are acacia trees. They are dead. Why are they dead? We'll be talking more to you about that, but it's also an area that's very popular with animals. I'm sure you can see from the pictures that we're giving you. Amongst the trees, I don't know if you can spot some few animals. We've got a buffalo, which by the way, we've had quite an adventure with this whole afternoon. It's been stuck there for most of the afternoon. So we'll talk more about that ecosystem, the buffaloes, why they like this particular area despite the dead trees. But then also when we talk about climate change and the effects that it's had on the Amboseli ecosystem, we are going to show you firsthand what we are talking about. So again, Jishin, my cameraman, is going to zoom his camera to the left-hand side of where I'm standing to show you a hotel. Now, it was known as the Kilimanjaro Amboseli Lodge. It was a very popular hotel some several years back. And as you can see now, all we see are just shells of houses. What used to be a top-notch accommodation spot is now just reduced to nothing really. What happened to that hotel? We'll be talking more about that. And you can see what climate change is doing to such beautiful places such as the Amboseli National Park. Right, so now let's come back to the history of Amboseli. Where does it get the name from, Amboseli? So the name is really such a rich history when you go back to it. This whole area is predominantly a Maasai area. That's the community that resides here. Of course, over time, we've had other communities from other parts of Kenya come here, attracted by the tourist activities, lots of agriculture as well happening here. But primarily, this is an area dominated by this Maasai community. And so the name Amboseli comes from the Maasai word dusty soil. So let me just come down and show you. The soil is very loose. If you look at it, very, very, very light. It's almost like dust. It's also ashy. And this is a result of the volcanic activity that happened. And that's the result of what we have as Amboseli today. A very small park, about 390 square kilometers. And really, when you see the animals that are in this park, it's a wonder that we have such a wide variety of animals, because for such a small space, really, we shouldn't be having such animals. So what is making these animals thrive in this park? Also, it's a semi-arid area. It gets very little rainfall in a year. Again, that shows you the delicate ecosystem that exists here, a very delicate balance. But then again, it's what contributes to the wonder of the Amboseli National Park, that such an area that is semi-arid, that is very, very small, can be having an abundance of wild animals. It's really described as a haven of wild animals. So we'll talk about that as well. So we know Amboseli to have huge herds of elephants. That's the second most biggest attraction for Amboseli. Herds of elephants that have thrived here for decades really. Actually for centuries, you know, since the 1800s, Amboseli has been known to have elephants. And why elephants have thrived in this place? Because Amboseli is really famous as the one place, perhaps one of the very few places in the world where you can have an up-close experience with free roaming wild elephants. And the reason they have thrived, history has it, that back in the day, you know, in the 1800s, this place had such fierce Maasai warriors, and it was difficult for poachers to come here and hunt the animals. And so that history of these fierce Maasai warriors persisted, you know, and so poachers were afraid to come here. So until today, that reputation has continued, and that is why we have these elephants very protected. I think one of the things that I have picked being here in Amboseli It's just how friendly the elephants are. And that's a really good sign that these elephants that are comfortable being here with human beings. You know, they're not really afraid because they have established a very good relationship with human beings. Now, remember I mentioned that Amboseli is the second most famous park in Kenya. We're going to have a lot of activity, such as this car that is passing, tourist vans, it being in the evening. This is prime time for tourists taking game drives because the sun is down, the temperatures are friendly, we have lots of animals now coming out, and that is why we see so many tourists now just going around the park trying to catch some rare animals that you wouldn't really see during the day when temperatures are really high, such as lions. So that's one of the wonders of this place. We've got plenty of water, and this water comes from the Kilimanjaro mountain. So the ice melts on the peak of Kilimanjaro, it goes down underground, and then it springs up here. So the history goes that a million years ago, this volcanic eruption happened and we had Mount Kilimanjaro. And before we had Mount Kilimanjaro, before that volcanic activity, this whole area, these arid plains of Amboseli National Park, believe it or not, were a heavily, densely forested area. So it was a whole woodland. And when that volcanic eruption happened, rivers were diverted or they were closed altogether. The trees were decimated. And so we saw the ecosystem slowly changing. So the trees disappeared. And what we saw after that was the soil that I showed you, the clear areas, just plains and nothing more, and dead trees. So like I said, we're going to have a little bit of history about how those dead trees came about, because that's a whole story, even about just how we have the water here in Amboseli, an area with very little amounts of rainfall. So I see one of my friends here. He's a ranger here at the Amboseli National Park. His name is Samuel Atambo. He was just taking a stroll here. And we're very, very glad that you've allowed us to be here. Thank you very much for accommodating us, Mr. Atambo.
Thank you very much.
Right, so let's talk about number one, the trees, the dead trees, because really this is a wonder. I know my cameraman Jishin is going to point again to those trees on my right, the dead trees. So what kind of trees are those, first of all? What type of trees are they?
Actually, this is acacia.
Yes.
Santanfoloea.
Right.
And it's also known as acacia naivasha.
Naivasha, just to put it into context for our viewers, Naivasha is a town in Kenya, in the Rift Valley side. Actually, right.
Yeah. And these are the yellow fever tree. Yeah.
Yellow fever tree.
Yeah.
Where did the name come from?
Actually, when the explorers came to Kenya, I think that when those sides of Naivasha, they were staying in those bushes where there was a lot of acacia trees there. So after that disease, they thought it's the tree which transmitted the disease to them. So that's why it got the name the yellow fever tree.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So now we have the acacia trees, all of them, they're dead.
Yeah.
What happened to them?
Actually, if you can look to the other side,
right.
Actually the water levels came up and you can see they dried up because some of the water level here is saline because of the salty.
And that's the water that comes from Mount Kilimanjaro, right?
Actually, it's underground drainage from Kilimanjaro.
Right.
So you can see the water levels, they have risen up, and the water is all over. You can see the marshy areas, the swamps here, they're very many. So there's plenty of water here in Amboseli. Yeah, and the water level is rising. Yeah. It's going up. Yeah.
But the water is not very good for the trees, so the trees are dying. Is that so?
Yeah. I think they're dying because of the salinity of the water. Also. Yeah.
Okay.
And also the trees, if you can see, they look very old.
Yes.
Some of them. Maybe that can be another reason why they are dried up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the elephants and the trees. Because I've heard some people say that elephants also destroy trees. Is that so? Is that true?
Actually, they don't destroy.
Yes.
You know, they feed on this acacia, like now they like this one. So sometimes they can destroy, like the big bulls. They can bush when they're trying to show their strength. They can bush these trees, and they can eat also these trees. They can bush the tree. then it falls down, then it can feed on the tree barks and the vegetation and the leaves.
Yeah, so
of
they're
these
actually
trees.
able to like uproot a whole tree.
Yeah, it's very strong. You can see it's the largest animal.
Right.
It's one of the strongest mammal
Okay.
yeah, on Earth. Yeah.
But the elephants haven't played any role at all when it comes to these particular
Yeah,
trees here,
yeah,
right?
in some areas.
This is just nature.
Yeah, it's nature.
Right.
But to some extent, if you can see like this one, it has been eaten by the elephant. You can see
Right.
the branches here. So sometimes, to some extent, they destroy the trees also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just curious now,
Yeah.
though, when you mentioned about the yellow fever bit,
Yeah.
now that finally the world knows yellow fever doesn't come from acacia trees,
Yeah.
is the name still there, yellow fever?
Yeah, it's
Do
a
people still refer to them as yellow
it's a
fever
yellow
trees?
fever- yeah, it's a yellow fever tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that also because of the color of the tree, do you think? Or,
Yeah,
or is it just strictly because of the disease?
Yeah, actually, when those guys were staying there,
Yes.
they were infected with that disease.
Right.
So they got that name, the
Yellow fever.
Yellow
Yeah.
fever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now they thought it was the tree which was transmitting that disease.
Right.
That's where they got that name from.
Uh-huh.
So I think it's because of the tree now.
And the name stuck.
Yeah.
So many centuries later, and science has shown us that it's not the trees causing yellow fever.
Yeah, very
Okay,
true.
so
Yeah.
so let's move to the left-hand side then
Yeah.
of where we are. So we saw some empty houses, some really old structures right behind us.
Okay.
And those old structures once used to be a lodge, right?
Yeah.
A very prominent,
Yeah.
very, very good lodge here at Amboseli.
Yeah, Kilimanjaro Safari Lodge.
Aha,
That's the
what
name.
happened to it?
Actually, it was submerged. The water level came up.
Right.
So people they vacated the area because the water levels went up. So they're going to stay there.
Yes.
And because of the springs that comes from Kilimanjaro underground drainage, that's why they were forced to move from that side.
Okay.
Yeah.
What role has climate change played in changing the Amboseli Park? What effects of climate change have you witnessed here?
Actually, you can see now the vegetation cover.
Yes.
You can see now like these trees, they have dried up. And you can see now the water levels has risen up. We have a lot of water here.
Right.
And now you can see there's a lot of flamingos which have migrated to this area. So actually the area used to be open savanna, but you can see now it has a lot of swamps.
Yes.
And it is a lot of water here.
Yes.
So it looks more of a lake.
Yeah,
You
it
can see
actually
from
looks
here.
like a lake. That is true, yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of water. In fact, if you look, that whole area is just plenty of water. So a lot of animals as well, I notice. I think that's one of the beautiful things I love about Amboseli Park, that you really don't have to struggle to see animals. We talked about this park being the second most famous, second only to the Maasai Mara. Maasai Mara is known for the wildebeest migration. But we also have wildebeest here. I can see plenty of them. Tell us a little bit about the wildebeest. I mean, like, do you have various species here, or is it just one type of species that you have?
Actually, we have one of these species, the one which is found here, the common one here. And you can see they're grazing very calmly.
Yes.
They're very okay here.
Yeah.
And you know now with Amboseli is an open savanna. So you can see animals from far. So you don't have to, you can see from far. If you have your camera, your binocular, you can see them very easily.
So we know the wildebeest in the Maasai Mara are migratory.
Yeah.
But are these residents or they also migrate?
They do migrate actually.
Yeah.
This one, they migrate even to the community outside there, and they come in here for water. Like now, if you can see here, here in this marshy area, this is where we have fresh grass, and also we have a lot of water now inside here. So, like now, outside the park, there is not enough food. So they come inside here, they come inside the park so that they can feed. There's a lot of water and there's a lot of food for them to feed in this marshy area.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, because when I look at this area, what I see mostly is just the wildebeest. Is this a territory strictly for the wildebeests, or do we have other animals that frequent here?
No, actually, for the wildebeest,
Yes.
they defend their territory, and for the other animals, they defend their territory. But now for this case here, it's only the males which defend their territory within this area here.
The males.
Yeah, the males.
Okay.
Now the females, they can move freely from one side to another. But now it's only you can see these are the highly territorial animals. Like now you can see even the hippos on the other side, and you can see even the buffaloes on this side.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then let's focus now on this other side that you're talking about. We have lots of trees. I think right ahead in front of us, I'm sure Mr. Jishin can actually capture the buffaloes.
Yeah.
Right in front of us. Let's talk about those because they're known to be I think one of the most dangerous animals in Africa.
Yeah.
Is it the most dangerous?
Actually, it's
More
one-
dangerous than a lion?
is one of them. You know, when the elephant, sorry,
The
when
buffaloes.
the buffalo attacks,
Yes.
it does it one. So actually, it has injured a lot of rangers when they are walking. So it's one of the most dangerous animals we have because it can conceal within the bushes
Right.
and wait for somebody. Then when it hits, it does it one. Yeah, that's why we see that's one of the most dangerous animals.
Okay.
Yeah, and they have a very good eyesight.
Aha.
Yeah.
So, because we are walking right in the midst of them, I mean, there are quite a number of them. If I look around, you know, I'm spotting a few buffaloes. What are the signs that one can look out for when they are in the wild and there's some buffaloes around to know that this animal is about to attack? What do you look out for?
Actually, for these ones, you know, like these lone buffaloes, you know, it's very dangerous because it became wild and so it had to move on its own. So that one makes us know it's one of the, it's very dangerous as at now. So like the single buffalo is very dangerous, okay? But those ones who move on a herd, they're not all that dangerous, like this, the single one here, because it has isolated itself from the others. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and that's what makes them very dangerous.
Yeah, and you can see like that one.
Yes.
If you saw it just raising the head up, it was ready because it has seen
Ah,
us.
that's one of the
So,
signs.
Yeah, so you have to be very careful. And you can see it urinating. Okay?
Oh, that's
Those are-
another sign.
That's another sign.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so how healthy is the population of buffaloes here in Amboseli? Do you have a good number of them?
Yeah, we have quite a good number. Quite a good number of buffaloes. For the
Yeah.
grazers actually,
Right.
because there's a lot of grass, there's a lot of water. Like if you can see in the marsh there,
Yeah.
there's plenty of green grass and water also. So they're very comfortable there and they're quite a good number now.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And they also make a very good meal for lions, I'm sure.
For lions. But you know, if the lion wants to attack that one,
Yeah, the
actually,
buffalo.
The buffalo actually,
Right.
it has to be very careful.
Uh-huh.
Maybe the pride of lions which move together
Right.
is when they can bring down the buffalo because the buffalo is very strong and very dangerous.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we talk about the buffaloes, their relationship with the lions,
Yeah.
Amboseli really isn't known for lions, not as much as the Maasai Mara.
Yeah.
But how healthy is your lion population here? Do you have lions in Amboseli?
Actually, we have plenty of lions, quite
Right.
a number.
Yes.
Like now, like a month ago, I saw a pride of 18 lions, a group of 18. They were moving together
Right.
near here. There is a place here you can see in those palm trees. That's where they reside. They like that place very much because it's a good hiding place.
Yeah.
They can conceal and they wait for the kill.
And I would imagine that would make a perfect spot because we have, like you said, we've got the water
Yeah.
and we've got all these animals like the wildebeest right now
Yeah.
that are in this area. So it makes for a good hunting ground for them.
For them, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You did mention earlier to me when we were having a conversation that you're actually seeing the numbers of lions in Amboseli increasing.
Yeah, they're
And that's incredible. What's contributing to that growth?
Actually, if you can see, there's plenty of animals inside the park here. And you know, like the wild beasts, like the zebras.
Yeah.
So they get their prey very easily here. And if you can see within Amboseli, you can see there's a lot of, they can move from the park and they move outside to the community land actually. And the community, you know, they're enlightened about the conservation.
Right.
And the role they play as far as conservation is concerned. And when the tourists come here, they come to see these lions. Okay, so that one I think they don't kill animals so much, and our warden, they are doing a great work to educate this Maasai community about the role these animals play as far as conservation is concerned.
Just how successful, if conservation is well done, how it can be. Because right now we are talking about the big cats, then dwindling in numbers, and it's the world over, not just here in Kenya. So to hear a story of lions in Amboseli growing and thriving, that's actually a very good success story. So you have 4 of the big five in Kenya.
Yeah.
So the big five, we know them to be the lion, the leopard, the cheetah, the buffalo, and the rhino.
Yeah.
Which of those big five do you not have here?
The rhino now.
The rhino.
Yeah.
Why do you not have rhinos?
Actually, they become extinct in early 80s. We used to have the black rhino here. I think it was due to poaching.
Aha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are there any plans perhaps to reintroduce rhinos here? Because we know we have rhinos elsewhere in Kenya. Yeah.
Actually, the research people, they are doing research. For them to reintroduce these rhinos, they have to be safe first. Because like now the black rhino, they are the brothers, they don't eat grass. And the white one feeds on grass. So they have to do a lot of research. So there's plenty of food for them, so that they can reproduce when they bring them here. That's the reason. I think research, they are doing it. Maybe they can do it later.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think as we go, oh, I see the buffaloes are increasing in numbers.
Yeah.
This is actually very interesting because now we see like a clear demarcation between the different species of animals. We have the wildebeests on the left-hand side next to the swamp. And then on the right-hand side, I guess as we move along, we're going to get a very clear view of the buffaloes. I'm just wondering, how safe is it? Can we get close to the buffaloes?
No, that actually is very dangerous.
This is one of the things that tourists have to watch out for.
We have to be very careful. Like
Yes,
now,
yeah.
we are moving very close.
We are moving close to the buffaloes,
Yeah.
so we need to watch out for those.
Yeah, they can kill. They
Yeah.
can inflict a very severe injury.
Yes.
So we have to be very careful.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And also, what I've noticed is that we also have a good population of hippos.
Yeah.
Earlier on, when we went live, I could hear them grunting in the water. Yeah. So what time do the hippos come out?
Actually, like now in the evening, maybe at night,
Right.
they come and they graze. You know, they're semi-aquatic, semi-terrestrial.
What does that mean?
Actually, they stay in the water at night during the day, and they come out. So there is semi-aquatic in the water
Yes.
and semi-terrestrial on land.
Right.
So that's why you can see them, even they were roaming here just freely, and sometimes they're in the marsh there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's also another very dangerous animal, especially here in Africa, right?
Yeah, very dangerous. Actually, it's the one which leads by killing people,
Yeah.
Human beings. I think after the lion, this is one of the most dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's because I think there's a lot of interaction
Yeah.
between the human beings and the hippos, especially in Africa, because access to water,
Yeah,
most
very
people will go to the rivers, right?
Very true. Very true.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me just take our viewers as we move away from the vehicles that are behind us.
Yeah.
I don't know if our cameras are able to capture Mount Kilimanjaro.
Yes,
We are actually starting to get a very clear picture of the peak.
Yeah,
I mean, how amazing is that? You can see the snow. We were just only talking a few minutes ago about the impact of Mount Kilimanjaro and just how essential it is to this ecosystem here in
Yeah, you
Amboseli.
can see there are two peaks.
Yeah.
One is Mawenzi and Kibo. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I think we're very lucky that we're able to get a view of the peak, because I don't think it's every day that happens, right?
Yeah, you must be very lucky today.
We've got incredible weather.
But I think when it rains on the other side, sometimes it's clearer.
Okay.
Yeah. And you know the other side of Kilimanjaro is very green. You know that the windward and the leeward side.
Right.
So from the other side of Kenya, it's a little bit dry.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But I think it's that mountain that keeps this dry side of Kenya
Yeah.
thriving and bustling with life, because it is the water from the snow, because we can see the snow at the peaks, and that's the water when the snow melts, right? The water goes,
It percolates
it
down.
percolates through the rocks underground,
Yeah. Then we get the springs here.
and then it springs up here,
Yeah.
meaning, yes?
Actually, one of the springs here, they have very fresh water.
Aha,
Yeah.
wow,
Like there's a place known as Oldare, very cold and very nice.
right.
Yeah.
And so that mountain keeps Amboseli National Park alive.
Alive.
If we didn't have Mount Kilimanjaro, we probably wouldn't have this Amboseli as we know it.
And actually, from Kenya is when you can see it clearer than Tanzania.
But it's in Tanzania, it's not in Kenya.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So this is one of the main attractions of the Amboseli National
Very
Park.
true, very true.
Have you ever climbed Mount Kilimanjaro?
I've never, but I'm looking forward.
You're
go
intending
one
to
day.
climb it one
I
day.
will, yeah, I will one day. Before I get old.
It's actually a very interesting adventure, I would imagine, you know, going up. I also intend to do it one day.
Okay.
Right. So, and so because of Mount Kilimanjaro, today we've got flamingos. Because if I look again out to the water,
Yeah, you can see
there's the pink color. Yes, pink color there. I'm sure our camera maybe can be able to pick the flamingos, the pink color over there. You know what is interesting is that the last time I was in Amboseli, which is about, I think, 12 years ago, that's a long time ago, we didn't have flamingos here. And now I come back and we have flamingos.
Yeah,
How did this happen?
Actually, they migrated, I think, from Lake Nakuru, Lake Mbogoria. And because now you can see we have algae here.
Yes.
You know, they feed on algae.
Right.
So there's plenty of food for them. So they normally navigate their way and they come so they can feed freely. You can see they're flying on the side.
Yeah, they're flying and they look very beautiful. The pink color, very vibrant. Where does that pink color come from?
Actually, the pink color comes from the algae they feed. Algae is pink in color.
Right.
So if they keep on feeding that algae, so it turn to pink color. Yeah. But because of that algae which they feed on, it's the one which gives them that color.
Oh,
the pink
wow.
color. Yeah.
So flamingos are actually migratory birds.
Yeah, they're migratory birds. They go to the other side of Tanzania,
Right.
whereby they do their nesting. They bring up their young ones, then they fly back to Kenya.
Oh, so they nest in Tanzania,
Tanzania,
and then they cross back to Kenya.
Yeah, very true.
It's just like what the wildebeest do at the Mara Triangle.
Very true. Very
Aha,
true.
that's very interesting.
Yeah.
So is there a particular season in the year that you get to see flamingos in Amboseli, or are they there throughout? Can a tourist come any time of the year and find them?
As at now,
Right.
I've seen them all through. But there's a time the number went down, but now I think the number is quite okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, how wonderful is this?
Yeah, there are many. There are very many actually. We have the two species, the greater and the lesser one.
Aha.
Yeah, both of them are found here.
Okay.
Actually, we are rich in bird species.
Right.
We have, you can see, we have the goose, we have the heroines, we have a lot of the sunbill stock like that, the other one on the other side.
Yes.
So birds of wetland were rich in bird species. Actually, over 400 bird species.
Yeah. This is a haven for
Yeah,
birds. So
like now you can see in those buffaloes, those are the cattle egret. You know,
they feed on the grasshoppers.
Yeah.
So they feed on the
Very easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. This is how nature depends on each
Is
other.
it commensally scheme? This is kind of feeding. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow.
So they depend on the buffalo. It's on the
buffalo.
The buffalo,
Because
known as the oxpecker.
Oxpecker. It's the alarm system, the warning system.
Yeah, those are the pullovers you can see. Very noisy.
Yeah. And this little here. If we listen, we're able to hear the noise from the wildebeest.
Yeah.
What is that sound they make? Does it have any symbolism?
Yeah, actually, they're calling the males, which are ready for mate. Yeah, those are the big bulls. Yeah. So
Okay.
they're calling for the males actually.
Okay.
And also they're defending their territory, and they want them to be known they're defending that territory.
Okay.
So be careful with those buffaloes.
Oh,
you can see.
I can see they're looking at us.
Yeah.
I don't know if the camera is able to turn to those buffaloes. They're now looking at us.
Actually, it's a very clever animal.
Yes.
And it's very alert.
I mean, just look at them.
Yeah.
So,
very careful actually.
because now they're watching our move. They're
Yeah.
trying to decipher, are we dangerous or not?
Very true.
Okay.
Very dangerous, yeah.
And I'd imagine this is the behavior they have with any other predator that they suspect is around.
Yeah. They have to see who are those, what are they doing,
Yeah.
so that they can. You know, when they attack, they don't warn. They will just attack.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Share the grazing area with any other.
Yeah, they can share.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. They can.
But
So.
Yeah.
Okay. So would these be males? Because we notice there's quite a number of them. Would they
Yeah.
be males, or is this just a
They look-
common herd of
no,
females?
no,
And
these are males.
oh, these are males.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it's the males that tend to be fewer in
yeah,
number, like they
have
are.
isolated themselves from the other herd.
Yes.
Like
I mean the cows that they are called, the
very
female.
true. For those ones, they don't allow a warning system. For
Yeah.
them. It's only the oxpecker.
Okay.
Yeah, this one is depending on the grasshoppers. Yeah.
I can't quite see them right now.
Actually, they're in the marshy area on the other side. It's not far from here.
Yes.
But if you go around, you can be able to see.
Okay.
We have quite a number. Good
Yeah,
number.
lines at the gate, and one of them said the maximum speed limit is 40 kilometers per hour. If you exceed, you'll be flagged down by an elephant.
Yeah, very true. Very
That was
true.
very interesting.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that's because you have such huge numbers of elephants, right?
Yeah.
They have thrived here
Yeah.
up until now.
Yeah.
How have you managed to make it such a...
Like now, the marshy area, there's a lot of food. If you can see, there's a lot of water inside there. So even the research people, we have the veterinary department, they stay in the headquarters. So actually, we have managed to see